Everybody that I'm about to talk about has some type of agenda, and quite frankly, it is disgusting. What's up, guys? John Claymore here. Now, as you guys know, these takes were out of me, especially sports takes, are a little bit rare, but the thing is this right here. There is a lot of things going on right now, and I wanted to give it an additional day before I commented on it because, quite frankly, there's a lot of agendas right now being exposed. A lot of people, of course, that are actually agenda-driven are kind of letting the mask slip. And we're going to be talking about every one of those in this video. So make sure you guys stick around. It's going to be a pretty long video, but very detailed. And we got to speak about this. Now, before we go any further, I want to give you guys a quick update on Damar Hamlin. It appears that he had to be resuscitated twice. He is still fighting. He actually started a toy drive before the incident, and we're actually going to talk about the actual hit here because, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of people here who have got a lot of agendas here that, quite frankly, may want to keep their mouths closed. Now, we're going to talk about the Skip Bayless tweet in this video. We're going to talk about ESPN's reaction. We're going to talk about the reaction to ESPN. We're also going to talk about these three stooges here, which, by the way, I have no choice but to call out because they're insanely dumb, and they chose to go with that right there rather than going with a much more commonsensical analysis. Even I can see that there's a common sense answer to what exactly happened. And we're going to be speaking about that too. And I need to call those idiots out because, of course, Twitter, the minute this right happened, a bunch of idiots who weren't even watching the game decided they wanted to chime in on the, remember, I can't say it, or else YouTube will strike this video, or YouTube will make this video to where it cannot actually go through the actual algorithm. And I kind of sort of need this to go through because obviously there's some common sense analysis here that is being completely missed. We're going to be covering all of that, but I wanted to give you guys an update on Damar Hamlin before we went any further. It looks to me like he is hanging in there. He is fighting. So make sure you guys give this guy prayers rather than actual conspiracy theories. And with that right there being said, let's go ahead and get into this. Let me go ahead and take care of these three stooges first. The intention was to take care of them late, but I need to take care of these idiots. And these idiots I'm talking about are Charlie Kirk, Laura Loomer, and of course I need to talk about Alex Stein because obviously he had to chime in too. Now guys, these right here are three people that I actually do like to a certain extent. However, you're kind of sort of seeing that right now these people are a little bit more agenda driven than anything else. So their first guess was to talk about players hitting the deck for apparently no reason, which of course, if you want to talk about the, and like I said, I have to be very careful on how I say it because of how YouTube views this topic. No, I do not think this right here was the case. Okay. There are a lot of tragedies that have occurred in sports. And, here's the thing. I don't think that the V, I don't think that right there was the cause of this right here. I mean, dude, it's pretty freaking common sense. Take a look at the actual hit.
That's not what any of us want to see, and everybody's around him, and just hope that he's going to be okay.
As you guys saw right there, T. Higgins ran into Damar Hamlin. Damar Hamlin went down. Now, commotio cordis is what a lot of people have suggested has occurred. And, of course, the belief is that what might have happened is that he got hit in the chest, and, of course, it caused cardiac arrest. Of course, he got up. He eventually hit the deck. A lot of people are saying stuff like, well, I've been hit in the chest before, or I've never seen this right here in all my years of football. Understand, good to go. However, the problem is this right here. These three stooges who immediately went ahead and went with the whole Pope narrative, these three stooges have more than likely never played sports, nor do they have any idea of what could happen. So they kind of jumped to the conclusion on this, and now they look like complete idiots, or they look like they're agenda-driven. A long time ago, there was a hockey player by the name of Chris Pronger. Now, guys, I'm going to roll this for you. If you're a little bit squeamish, go ahead and cut through it, but you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about with this actual, let's just say, this actual occurrence. Let's go ahead and roll this so that way you guys can kind of see what I mean.
It across, big drive, and that one blocked and into the equipment of Jeff Courtnall, and another penalty coming up.
And Detroit's going to have a two-man advantage for 10 seconds. Pronger could be hurting here, guys. He took the slap shot into the chest. This isn't funny. There's a problem here. He took the slap shot into the chest. The trainer's out there quickly, and you can see with that slap shot into his ribs and chest, he's having some problems. And here comes John Wharton from the Detroit bench, just very serious. And then he moved out, and he took a slap shot really high off the chest. Here, right here. Here it comes. Boom, yeah. The left side of his chest near his heart. You can see he's breathing there, and it looks like he's gotten a lot of attention.
Guys, I'm playing it again with commentary, and of course, you're going to see my face again here in a second. Pronger was nailed right in the chest. He hit the deck. He went into complete cardiac arrest, okay? By the way, he's not the only person that this right here has happened to. On the set of Rocky IV, Sylvester Stallone took an extremely wicked shot from Dolph Lundgren, and he too also had the exact same thing occur. He ended up having a bruised heart. And it's actually rumored that it happened again on the set of the film. I want to say the Expendables 1 or Expendables 2. Fact of the matter is that this type of occurrence has occurred. It's very rare. And yeah, I don't think it's exactly, how do I say, right to jump to conclusions and think that it was the V, when in reality it was more than likely this right here. By the way, these three stooges who jumped on this made conservatives like myself look like complete total idiots, when of course I was tweeting up a storm saying, look guys, you might not want to jump to conclusions here. There's probably a common sense answer to this. And of course, these three idiots, three stooges, have never actually played any contact sports. So yeah, this right here wasn't exactly a good look, especially considering that there was another reason that this right here could have occurred. Like I said before, it is rare, but I highly doubt that the V or the J, whatever you might want to call it, I highly doubt this right here had anything to do with it, even though the NFL has this extremely high V rate. But at the same time, though, it's a pretty common sense, let's just say it's a pretty common sense answer to this right here, that it more than likely was the commito cordis rather than the actual V. Now, with that right there being said, let's go ahead and talk about Skip Bayless's tweet. Guys, before we talk about Skip, I need to go ahead and get this out of the way. I do agree with the NFL's decision to cancel the game. I do agree with that. You got a lot of players who are distraught. You don't want a lot of guys who are emotional or in their emotions playing where they're afterwards, because God knows what might could happen. And I think out of respect, I think that, well, let's just go ahead and be honest, it was obviously the right decision. So Skip Bayless, he sends out this tweet, and let's just go ahead and be honest. Everybody hates Skip. Everybody jumping on the whole let's go ahead and beat up on Skip Bayless train. Let's go ahead and cancel him. One of these people, of course, was Dez Bryant. Dez, didn't you beat a girl at one point in time? You beat the hell out of some girl, and then all of a sudden now out of the middle of nowhere, we're over here screaming and holler about Skip Bayless. At the same time, Dana White, the president of the UFC, slaps the literal shit out of his wife on New Year's Eve. Of course, we're finding out that she hit him first, but still, though, you shouldn't be hitting no damn woman. Where the hell is the cancellation for him? Where is that at? So you guys are going to say, look, we're going to cancel Skip Bayless because over this tweet, which, by the way, was very, very ill-timed, and it was very, very ill done. If Skip had maybe sent that tweet out, I don't know, maybe on Tuesday night or Wednesday, it might have been a little bit better for him to do so. It was just a very, very bad timed tweet. But then again, though, this is the same guy who pulls for Tom Brady against his own Dallas Cowboys, so what the hell do you expect out of this guy? Obviously, he's a bit of a scumbag. But I will say this about Skip, though. At least he showed up to work the next morning to face the damn music, unlike his co-host, Shannon Sharp, who automatically gets some type of points. And obviously, he gets a day off because he obviously was emotionally in his feelings, obviously taking advantage of the system, being woke. Hey, man, let's screw the white guy, this, that, and the other. As a matter of fact, at this point in time, I'm kind of like, you know what, when the contract negotiations come up, if Fox Sports 1 chooses to keep the bad guy, Skip Bayless, versus the lazy guy, Shannon Sharp, I kind of don't blame them. Guys, if you were not mature enough to sit through that without getting offended, I have no idea what to tell you. But let me tell you guys a quick story really quick. And I understand that Damar Hamlin, his family, of course, look, I feel bad for them. Obviously, we're praying for them. We hope he makes it through. All that stuff right there, okay? His toy charity is doing a lot better. I'm glad that it is. He opened it up, I think, the day before the game. But let's go ahead and throw this out here really quick. I got to tell you guys a very, very quick story. 1999, May of 1999. And everybody loves to compare Roger Goodell with Vince McMahon, so we got to go here. May of 1999, over the edge, in your house, Kemper Arena. Owen Hart falls from the ceiling. Owen Hart dies. Vince McMahon was sued over this right here by the Hart family. Of course, the court case didn't go any further than it probably should have. And yes, many people think the WWE was liable. Vince McMahon was faced with a decision that night: do I cancel this event? So he actually had to ask his fellow employees, his fellow workers, should they continue it on. Now, the guys chose to say, look, I think the show must go on. We can stop. We can do this right in the honor of Owen. And by the way, you guys can disagree with me in the comment section if you want to, but Vince McMahon had to make a decision. I promise you that Roger Goodell at that point in time had to make a decision. Does this game go forward? I think that right there is what Skip Bayless was actually trying to mean. The problem is that he worded it differently and he released it at the wrong time. Now, of course, Skip was told, he even admitted to it on FS1 the next morning, that his higher-ups told him, look, man, you need to go out there and you need to correct this. Of course, everybody decided to emotionally go after him. But never once in the Twitter comments did I see anybody say prayers for Damar. They just kept on piling on Skip Bayless. They just kept right on piling on this guy, which, by the way, this old man gets piled on all the time. Of course, he deserves to get piled on. But, of course, somebody got emotionally upset when they heard me say that, hey, look, you guys have also got a problem yourself. So, of course, this is the type of people that we're dealing with. We're dealing with people who cannot handle the truth or can't even be talked to. And, of course, you got to handle the delicate kid gloves. Me, personally, I think you can handle these people the right way. They're just taking advantage of the woke system. Leads me to ESPN. That leads me to Ryan Clark. That leads me to Dominique Foxworth. Now, guys, I'm going to roll this footage from you, but I want to go ahead and give you guys a heads up. I had to get this footage from The Blaze. I had to get this footage from Jason Whitlock. The reason why, of course, is because ESPN's got this copyright thing. ESPN, by the way, is probably going to be dead in a couple of years. I'm going to go ahead and roll these clips back to back, and we're going to answer both of them, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this hypocrisy. Let's go ahead and roll this.
I dealt with this before, and I watched my teammates for days come to my hospital bed and just cry. I had them call me and tell me that they didn't think I was going to make it, and now this team has to deal with that, and they have no answers. And so the next time I think that we get upset at our favorite fantasy player, or we're upset that the guy on our team doesn't make the play, and we're saying he's worthless, and we're saying you get to make all this money, we should remember that these men are putting their lives on the line to live their dream. And tonight, Damar Hamlin's dream became a nightmare for not only himself, but his family and his entire team.
Everyone's mad at Roger Goodell for not acting fast enough. You're mad at football. You're mad at this. You're mad at all because you don't know what to do with that emotion. And I understand people process differently. But watching everyone else get angry made me angry, frankly. Because, and this is where my union background, I think, ties in some, is y'all don't give a damn about us for real. You know, and that's what like really pisses me off is everyone's up in arms and everyone's like grandstanding to a degree about how much you care about these players and how much you are praying for them. But football's not going to go away, nor do I want it to go away. It's far too lucrative and people love it too much, including the players. But what I would hope is that away from moments like this, you remember that these things can happen. So again, as a former union president, when we are fighting in the CBA for financial opportunities or for health and safety considerations, don't call us greedy. Like just, and so there is no cap, as we have learned, there is no cap to the amount of risk that the players are taking. There is no cap to that. And I know money's not all that important, but let's be honest, that is America's love language is financial. But there is a salary cap on the amount of players. And so there's a cap to the amount of risk. And I don't mean any disrespect to Robert Kraft or Jerry Jones or Shad Khan or Clark Hunt or any of the owners of teams. Like, they deserve to make a ton of money. Cool. Knock yourself out. But there's a cap to the amount of risk that they are taking when they show up to the games on Sunday. The worst thing that could happen to them is they're going to lose a football game. There is no cap to the amount of risk that the players are taking to entertain us and to make a lot of money. So, like, I understand that maybe it makes people uncomfortable for me to be talking about salary caps this morning, but I always go back to that because the small percentage of the players who play professional football make an amount of money that is life-changing.
Nobody dies for football, RC, and I'm going to be nice to you here, and you're probably going to hear me make the same point again. Soldiers die in combat. Cops die in the line of duty. Firefighters die in the line of duty. It's very rare for football players to die or almost die. So, and also to go on top of this, there's a lot more money involved with NFL football players. But then again, at the same time, this is the same guy who also got pissed off with the NFL over being pro-veteran causes. So this type of troglodyte take from RC doesn't surprise me. To Foxworth, let me say this right quick, man. You all make a life-changing amount of money. I mean, the median salary is like $800,000 a year. My fat ass is never going to see that. Next thing is this right here. Even though there are risks involved in football, here's the deal. You're getting paid a crap ton of money to do what it is that a lot of people want to do for free. Also, something else too, and you're going to hear me say this again. You're the same person who came out and said that you did not care for the people who rooted for Josh Allen because basically they're white. So I don't get where the hell you get off saying that you're not trying to pass judgment or anything. And one last point, and this right here is going to be made again. Military guys, veterans, they can't, they can't just make a bunch of money. If something happens to one of us on the battlefield or training, it's not like you stop everything. You've got to keep going through. Also, something else too, cops, if somebody gets hurt or injured, guess what? They got to stay in the fight. This is not one of these situations where you can just cancel everything. So in the NFL where you actually can, whereas in real life you cannot, you guys are kind of seeing the disconnect here. I mean, I'm going to leave that full episode of Whitlock in the description box because he made a very, very good point at the very beginning. You can't trust ESPN anymore because, quite frankly, we're not having an honest discussion or honest conversation. You got a lot of people with agendas out there who are running their mouth. As a matter of fact, this right here is also going to be the subject of tomorrow's video, which is going to be about the Kevin McCarthy stuff. But I figured I would go ahead and throw this out here that right now you've got a bunch of people advocating for different agendas rather than thinking about Damar Hamlin. And one more thing, too, about not caring about the guy. We're giving this guy thoughts and prayers. Meanwhile, your opponents are out there attacking Skip Bayless over a very, very dumb tweet. While at the same time, to go on top of this, you guys make astronomically more money than we do. As I said before, the median salary in the NFL is like $800,000. Myself and I would say 99% of the country are never going to actually see that money. So miss me with that bullshit. Don't worry, we'll come back to him again in a second. More than like $50,000 a year in some places. In some big cities, they get paid pretty well. But that pretty well does not add up, especially living in big cities, especially cost of living. Cops have got to deal with all kinds of risk. And, of course, I've been a little bit more sour on police as of late. Firefighters have got to deal with all kinds of risk. They have their lives are basically threatened every day. What about guys in the military? As a matter of fact, as a veteran myself, I can personally tell you that, dude, if somebody gets shot, somebody gets smoke checked in the throat, we can't just stop, call time out, and that right there be it. We got to pick him up. We got to carry him off. And if he's dead, we got to explain to his parents later on how it was that they lost their son. Or, of course, in this military here, their daughter. Okay, we got to explain that. We don't get paid that amount of money. Loggers, of course, they go through all kinds of risk. They don't make anything. I mean, lumberjacks up in northern Canada, they don't make any damn thing. I mean, dude, you got people out there who take way more risk with their lives. And I understand the boy almost got killed, but football, for the most part, the biggest thing you have to worry about is CTE later on in life. And by the way, you're getting paid millions of damn dollars to do the actual sport, which, by the way, is going to be exactly where I go ahead and transition to talking about Dominique Foxworth. Dominique Foxworth is one of the worst out. This is the same guy who said he didn't like people who rooted for Josh Allen because they had American flags in their front yard. Dominique Foxworth is one of the worst people to speak on this issue. And it sounds more to me like the only thing he's angling for here is more money. Dude, you're already getting paid millions of friggin' dollars. No more sport in the history of the world has produced more black millionaires than the NFL. So, dude, go ahead and drop the bullcrap. It's pretty obvious people can tell by what the hell you were saying that this right here is all just agenda-driven. Now, guys, with that right there, let's go ahead and transition to the last part of this video, which I think is really the true agenda here. We've already covered how it was that some dumbasses on the right decided they wanted to bring up the V. We've talked about Skip Bayless's tweet and how it is people have already gotten up in their feelings. We've talked about Foxworth and, of course, ESPN and the whole woke card. However, there is an agenda that we need to sound off on that, quite frankly, I think needs to be spoken of because I think this right here is the true agenda at the end of the day. And don't be surprised if this right here does not get mentioned up for the rest of the NFL season going into the offseason.
And the point that I made in my mono about like, hey, look, any activity, You going swimming in a pool or an ocean, you getting in your car to drive somewhere. Any activity, there's inherent risk in it. And that's certainly true in sports. And so, I mentioned some of these guys, but I just want, Ray Chapman, 1920, hit in the head. I think it was the guys, Carl Mays was the pitcher for the Yankees, hit him in the head, the guy dies 12 hours later. Dale Earnhardt. I was there at the race in 2001 at the Daytona 500. Saw that with my own eyes, was there, wrote about it, covered it. Hank Gathers, college basketball player, Loyola Marymount. Chuck Hughes, mentioned him earlier, football wide receiver for the Detroit Lions. Duck Koo Kim, boxer, dies in the ring or was found to have subdural hematoma. He died 5 days later after a fight. Reggie Lewis, during an off-season practice, he died of sudden cardiac death. Pistol Pete Maravich, playing career was over, but at age 40, playing a pickup basketball game, heart attack, died. Bill Masterson died 2 days after suffering massive head injuries from a check in an NHL game. Corey Stringer, football player, Minnesota Viking, died of complications of heat stroke during training.
600,000 kids were playing high school football, Jason, just 5 years ago. 300,000 are playing now in America. So we are at a critical mass. We have a very, very serious participation rate in playing football, in 11-man football. There's 6,700 high schools in America that play high school football. And 6,700, if you just do it times 50, this just roundabout way, you're roughly at around 370, 400,000 people, I guess. That's not including the 8-man leagues and the other leagues or JV or freshmen. We're just talking varsity 11-man playing football in high school. We're at a critical mass. We're losing participation across America every day, and I'm scared that we're going to only continue to go that way, especially after seeing what we saw last night.
I'm double checking because I thought it was more than that. I do know that every year it's less and less players playing high school football. And this
I went off this morning. I had a pretty big show this morning. I watched Ryan Clark last night, which I can't stand the dude. I watched him last night, and he's using these words as he's crying on TV, which it's just so staged. He's using words that are just blowing my mind. Just come out and be genuine, man. Like, you're on a big platform. Come out and be genuine. You played the sport at a very high level. You were a very good player. You were a hard-hitting safety that came downhill, so you put your body at risk. You got injured before, and you should have just came out and been genuine and said, listen, these things happen. But to say that it's not fair, to say that this does not need to be happening, this kid does not deserve it, but quotes, this is what he used, words he used, deserving. Well, I could say you don't deserve the job at ESPN that you hold. I could say that these 7-year-olds getting killed every day by drive-by shootings don't deserve it either. But guess what? I don't see anybody doing anything proactively. I think everything is reactionary. We always want to react and do the rip, retweet, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, after the fact. Well, this is a thing that you can't.
A lot of mothers are hearing about this, and you can also blame my side of the aisle, especially people like Charlie Kirk and Alex Stein's dumbass, and of course Laura Loomer for kind of bringing this up. Of course, they went the opposite direction. They went to the V rather than the actual hit. But even if that right there was the case, as you guys have heard, overall participation in football itself is down, especially in youth football. Now, guys, you can blame this on a million different circumstances. You could say that parents are allowing their kids to play video games too much. You could say that parents are allowing their kids to feminize, especially young boys. But let's talk about the sport of football just for a second. It is dangerous, or it can be dangerous. But here's the thing about football. All sports, you can compare to football because they've all got their risk. One of the main comparisons that we hear from football to baseball is that baseball players don't get hurt. Bull crap. Baseball players have got to deal with nagging injuries. Hockey players, of course, they could take a hockey puck right to the face and it damaged their mouth, their teeth. There have actually been hockey players, as I mentioned before, Chris Pronger, who literally died right there on the ice for taking a shot in the chest from a hockey puck, We just went through all the tragedies that have occurred in sports. Basketball players have hit the deck, so there's always going to be some level of risk. But I hate to tell you this, but I got to say this, though. There's a risk in everything that you do. Yesterday morning, when I got my tooth removed, I was under the impression I would be bedridden for an entire day and a half to 2 days because of the possibility of the fluid coming out. And of course, I did not realize this, but they put a bone graft in there to keep me from getting a dry socket. Anybody who's ever had a tooth removed can kind of feel the pain. You're not allowed to smoke, this, that, and the other, but yet I just smoked right here while on the set because I'm trying to quit. And of course, obviously, I've got up to a very good story. I'm not one of those people who can quit cold turkey. I got to do it with withdrawal. And I've actually had a very, very low amount. And of course, I was able to go yesterday without. But here's the thing, though. You got to understand something really quick about this. There's a risk in just about everything that you damn it do. There's a risk anywhere and everywhere. We're living in a bubble wrap society. Now, let me explain exactly what football is great for. Football is great for teaching these young men teamwork. It's great for teaching them how to communicate with others. It's great for teaching key people, especially young men, how to work out differences. Okay, obviously you think yourself physical, right? Football is also very, very mental. As I mentioned just now, interpersonal relationships, the ability to communicate with people, the ability to take orders. If people are not playing football, if you've got less kids playing football or playing sports in general, they become, let's just say, a little bit more not as team worthy, meaning that they become a little bit too individualistic, meaning that, you're hurting them in the future. You see, what you've got to be able to do in life is you've got to be able to work as a team later on. Not everybody can do things on their own. As a matter of fact, that right there is going to be the topic of a video that will be coming out tomorrow because apparently professionalism is supposedly anti-black. We're going to be discussing that right there tomorrow before we fully transition into these projects. Like I said before, this video right here was not meant to be done, but of course here we are speaking about this because now we've got to deal with everybody's agenda in the world. So let's go through this one more time. You had the dumbasses that are apparently on my side that are pushing the whole V narrative. Even though they didn't even bother to think about the fact that somebody gets hit in the chest really hard, they could go down, get back up, and then all of a sudden go into cardiac arrest. It's very, very rare, but it does happen. You've also got the idiots at ESPN, Ryan Clark, of course, Dominique Foxworth. They're pushing their own agenda. Ryan Clark, of course, is pushing sympathy. And, of course, Dominique Foxworth wants more money, even though he's probably sitting on a gold mine himself. Just another idiot out there. You've got Whitlock pulling out stating the obvious, stating that, guess what, this is obviously another attempt to go after football, when, of course, people don't seem to realize there's a risk in everything. And, of course, this is also about feminizing men. And, of course, to go on top of this right here, we had the whole Skip Bayless debacle, which, by the way, I still think is kind of funny because people should realize it's Skip friggin' Bayless. He's going to have bad takes and bad time takes all the time. But you guys want to get up in your feelings when he makes an extremely rational point. He just made the rational point at a very, very bad time. With that right there being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and stop for the day. If any other events occur, don't worry, I'll be back to re-edit this video. I don't think I'm going to have to. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys share the video. I want to get you guys' thoughts. If you're pissed off and whatnot because I basically took Skip's side, guess what? I really and truly don't care about your woke butthurt feelings. Guys, John Clayman here. I will see you guys later.